Hey everyone, Michelle Ngome here. I first want to thank you for attending the Build Expo on the Navigating the Digital Space seminar. I know, as I stated, I was going to send the presentation out to several of you, but I decided to take a moment to record the presentation. That way you have context to the material and not just the slides, especially since I do a lot of pictures. So I want to spend the next 30 to 45 minutes just going over everything, trying my best to recapture the magic compared to the first time of you hearing the presentation. But please feel free to share this to among your team, co-workers, and industry friends. And if there's any way that I can help you or clarify, please feel free to shoot me an email and I'll be glad to go over this material with you. So a little bit about me. As I stated, my name is Michelle Ngome. I manage Line 25 Consulting. We are a marketing firm that specializes on social media, networking, as well as thought leadership. Thought leadership is all about being a visible expert and authority figure within your industry. I've been privileged to write the book Network, Navigate, and Nurture, The Equation to Strategic Networking, where it talks about value-based networking. 6 months after that, I released the spin-off podcast called Networking with Michelle, where I discuss marketing and networking strategies. So today is just real simple. We're going to talk about the importance of content marketing, creating content, and using social media to promote that content. So let me ask you something. What is your biggest challenge when it comes to social media? Right? There are several things. Probably being consistent. Which platform? There's so many platforms, so you're probably feeling overwhelmed. Does that sound like you? For many of us, it's what do I say? What do I say on Facebook? How do I say it on Twitter within 140 characters? What do I say on social media? And that is why it's so important to create content. You have to have your own content or have the ability to find content and then use social media to promote it. So right now we're going to focus on the importance of creating content. And one of my favorite marketers, his quote is, "Content is like fire and social media is like gasoline." So you start with the flame, but social media is a distribution channel that's going to allow you to grow or blaze like a wildfire, right? When it comes to social media, I want you to think about this. It's a distribution channel. Think about your basic TV stations. You have ABC, CBS, NBC, right? And they each have their own programming. They each have their own objective when it comes to their program and how they run their shows. And even though, with that objective, there's a different audience. And yes, there may be some overlap with that audience, but there's still a difference when it comes to shows. And that's the same thing with social media. Social media is a distribution channel. Each platform is a different channel, different audience. Yes, there's some overlap, but you're going to put different content on each channel. Also, if you look at this picture, it says content is king. And it has the Google font or Google logo representing through the font and the colors. And the reason being is because Google owns 70% of the search engine market. You have Google, Bing, and Yahoo. So when it comes to Google, you want to make sure you have a website. If you're creating content, blog posts, that's going to be anchored and indexed within Google. So for example, if someone is lost and they go in and roofing services, roofing contract or contractor, construction, general contractor, Houston general contractor. Those are some of the keywords that people are going to use to find either information on what they can do themselves at home or if they want to hire someone. And if you're creating content, that hopefully your content will appear within Google So for someone to either go to your website and discover who you are. And as I continue, when I say you, I want you to think not just your individual self, but also your company as a whole. So what are the types of content? Okay. So the number one content right now is video and live stream, as well as pictures. Okay. So we'll just say visuals to cover all of that. You have articles and blog posts that can be interchangeable. Creating a book or ebook, which is very important if you want to become an expert, or if you're looking to find ways to be that authority figure, maybe build your personal brand. Doing self-publish or publish is always a good thing. Or maybe you want to bring clients in, you want to drive traffic, you want to provide free information, a free download, so you create an information or a reference guide. Or maybe you can call it a consumer guide. Demos are really popular, especially if you're in the business of do-it-yourself, or you're able to do demo videos to show people how they can do something very quickly, anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. I love podcasts. I have a podcast. So if you're really willing to step out on the limb and either be interviewed on other shows or to start your own podcast, that's always a plus. White papers for major publications, webinars if you want to teach people. You can also say doing workshops, any type of speaking along those lines. And of course, surveys and testimonials that you'll get from your client, in most cases after the work is done. So I listed all of the ways or all of the types of content, but I want to show you how you can take one piece of content and multiply that 3, 4, 5 times. In marketing, we call that repurposing content. And here I'm going to show you 6 different ways, but I've seen people take one piece of content and turn it into 20, 30, 40, 50 different ways. But we're going to keep it simple for today. So I like using this example. And this can be either a podcast, or say you go up the street to KHOU Houston and they bring you in as an expert to do an interview, right? So whether that interview is 4 to 5 minutes or 45 minutes, I want to show you how you can do this interview and create multiple things from that. Okay, so you have your interview, you have the audio, the video in your hands, right? And you're like, okay, how can I create more things? How can I use this interview and bring traffic to my website? And how can I promote this on my social media platforms? So what if you say something very profound in that interview? And there's comments, there's some type of feedback, or, you're like, hey, I did this interview, I really like what I said, and maybe I can dive in a little bit deeper and talk about this a little bit more. So you want to write a blog post. So you write a blog post anywhere from 300 to 500 words. Okay, put that on your website. You got some comments, you get some feedback, some more feedback from your audience on the social media. You're getting some questions, things of that nature, and they're like, hey, I really like this. Do you have any resources or a reference guide? How can you turn this blog post into an information guide that you could either put on your website as a free download? And this is very beneficial if you're working with residential clients. Or how can I turn this into an information guide that I place in my marketing material when I'm meeting with other businesses, especially if you're business to business realm? This may be a great complement within your marketing material. Okay, so we have 3 pieces of content right there. Okay, so you have this information guide and you land a deal. You have this new client. Or excuse me, let me back up a little bit. So you have this information guide. We can even go back to the blog post. You have this information, and you know what? Everyone doesn't like to read. Unfortunately, that's the ugly truth. So you decide to do a video. You do a video for about 2 to 3 minutes, and this could be a great summary of your blog post, and you're just speaking in front of the camera, right? We're not even going to get into anything elaborate. You just decide to turn that blog post into a video. One thing is really common is most people, they'll do a video and then they'll have the transcription or the summary as their blog post. So you can interchange that. So right there, we're on content number 4. Once again, you said something profound, and maybe you're able to create the image or the quote card. That's usually those pictures, whether it's a blank canvas and there's, the pretty font and there's some type of quote, right? And if you're probably in construction or engineering and you don't have a quote, but maybe you can put a statistic, some type of something informative on there. It may or may not work for your industry. It just depends, okay? But you're able to create some type of visual element from that video and blog post. So you get a client. From that client, you may or may send them a survey. So that could be 6. But hopefully when the work is done, you can get a testimonial, right? And that could be either 6 or 7. And then from that testimonial, you can either have that on Google, you can have that on Yelp, you can have that on your website, you can incorporate that in your marketing material. If you do a professional video, you can have the testimonials at the end of the video, right? There are so many things that you can do to incorporate testimonials within your company. And that is just a quick way to show you how to repurpose content, okay? So you start from the interview. From the interview, maybe you duplicate that into a video where it's just you and the camera. You summarize that. That's your blog post. And then you're like, you know what? I want to find another way to draw traffic to my website, or incorporate this marketing material incorporate this into my marketing material because I got such great feedback. So you create an information guide. Maybe you're able to create the visual element, and then you send a survey and a testimonial. Okay, so that is repurposing content. Okay, so before and after pictures. I know this is very, very, very common, popular. I love it, and I just want to take a moment to really go in with this. In most cases, I had a chance to look at a lot of the exhibitors and sponsors that are on the website, and this is what I would see. I don't think this is anyone particular that attended the event, but in most cases, this is what I see, a before and after picture. And someone like me, I know nothing about flooring. I can be easily impressed. But this is the situation I want you to think about. Lots of times an emergency may happen. It's a 50-50 chance when someone's going to budget whether or not they're going to get flooring done or getting remodeling done. And if I have a $5,000 budget, I know nothing about flooring, I'm going to give you a call and be like, hey, I need hardwood floors in my house. How much does that cost? And you're like, $6,000. I'm like, no, thank you. My budget is $5,000, and I'm going to go to the next person until I find someone that fits my budget, right? But try this out. If you're company A and you put this picture there, and you're like, hey, this is $5,000, take it or leave it, in so many words. Or company B, and you're like, hey, this is a $7,500 job. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they gave us a call. Unfortunately, this house has been in the family for several years, but on April 15th, when Houston experienced some bad weather, it really messed up the flooring to this house. And so that's the content you put on the before picture. And what we did, instead of going with hardwood floors, we went with laminate floors because it's a little bit less expensive, and they have dogs and several animals and scratch resistant, things of that nature. And we did step 1, 2, and 3 for $7,500. That's the after picture. By putting that content there, that description there, that caption there, I'm probably going to go with company B because I see the value on what they did with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. They took me inside of their world. They gave me an explanation. They were thorough with their details. I'm not even their customer yet, and they provided me with a process, an understanding as to why it doesn't cost $5,000, on why it shouldn't be cheap, but it's a value, it's an investment, and it costs $7,500 to get this work done. Does that make sense? Because the thing is, when you have a customer like me, I don't know nothing. So what are you going to do? What type of content are you going to provide on your website, your main hub, that's going to inform me on how to make a better buying decision? So you want to find different ways to create value. And I think starting at the before and after pictures, which is some of the most common elements that are being pushed within the industry on these social media platforms, if you can put some context to that, I think this is a great first step to help your ideal clients. And this just goes into a little bit deeper. So creating the content, right? I want you to think of ways when you're creating this content, think about how can you develop rapport and trust with your client, your ideal client. What makes your company special? And lots of times what makes a company special is the process that they put into it that makes you different. And that could be as simple as the customer service. Okay. How can you help me make a better buying decision? What kind of blog post do you need to write that's going to help me make a better buying decision? What kind of picture are you going to put on there that's going to be like, wow, they take great pride and quality in the work that they do? And how can you advertise something other than price? So for that person that calls, this is really good for the general contractors, that person that calls and you get that phone call, I know you get it all the time. How much do you charge for this? How much do you charge to screw in a light bulb? And you're like, I really don't know until I get there. You want to think about some of the value you can provide over the phone to negate this question. Or how much content can you put on your website to negate those type of questions about pricing? So having such great content is going to allow you to position yourself better. It's going to build trust with your audience. If I'm getting this great information and resources and education on your website, I believe you're going to do a great job. If you're giving me all this information that's going to allow me to do the small do-it-yourself stuff that I can do at home, I'm definitely going to call you when I need the big professional stuff done. Because you've added so much value to me over the past 6 months, I'm not even worried about pricing. Okay. So these are some great examples. And I left them blank because I want you to either put in your company name, your industry, in those blanks as to how it will apply to you. So these are some good things to get started. 8 mistakes to avoid when choosing an interior designer. 5 questions to ask a general contractor. How to find a qualified roofing company. 3 costly mistakes when it comes to construction. How to avoid ripoffs. Do-it-yourself steps. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's the difference between blank and blank? What's the difference between laminate and hardwood floors? What's the difference between granite countertops, shingles? You know, what's the difference between that thing that's the least expensive product pricing, comparing that to what's the most expensive product. Okay. And this one's my favorite, FAQs. FAQs are your friend. You've been in business for a long time. You know those common questions that come across the phone, that come across an email, that come across your sales reps. Sit down together, have a quick meeting. What are people asking you when you go out? What are people asking you when you answer the phone? That's going to be the beginning of how you're going to create your content. What people are asking, you can write about that. You can provide that to them. Okay. So social media marketing. Okay, so you have your content, right? You've got your first blog post. Now what? It's time to go to social media. Social media marketing is the ability to gain traffic or engagement through social media sites. Once again, each site is its own platform, it's its own channel. Okay. Common ones: LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. SlideShare is a good one for presentations. Instagram, Pinterest, and Snapchat. Okay. So Facebook. Facebook is probably the holy grail, or it is the holy grail of social media. The priority on Facebook right now is a live stream, Facebook Live, videos, and then images. I don't know what their algorithm is, but if you look through your feed, you're going to have a bunch of videos first. This is something you're going to notice on your personal feed. You're going to have videos first, and then images, and then text and links later. Okay, so feel free to promote your blog post, your text, your videos, your visuals. Don't let that hold you back. But if you're wondering on why you have less engagement, is because they're ranking that in order from live video, pictures, and then text. Sponsor content, that's your ads. Okay, so have you ever wondered why when you go to a website, I'm going to keep this simple. Have you ever wondered why if you go to, say you go to Nike.com, or let me back up. Let me do this, everyone can relate. Amazon.com, this is a prime example. If you go to Amazon.com and you're looking for the specific item, you want to buy the specific book, and for whatever reason, say the reviews are 3 to 4 stars and you're kind of on the fence. You leave, you go back to Facebook, and now you see this Amazon ad in the middle of your timeline. What that is called retargeting. Okay? And it's very /cookies. It's very common, especially when you go to, other company websites. You go to their website, go to Facebook, and that ad is just following you for about the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days. It's called retargeting. And the way you can do retargeting is if you go to Facebook, actually, I'll show you right now. So if you go to Facebook, on the right-hand side, you go to Create Ads. You go click on Ads Manager. You have Create and Manage, Measure and Report, Assets. Under Assets, you have what they call as pixels. You click on pixels. Let me see here. Now, I already have my Facebook ID /pixel number. So for me, it's on the right-hand corner. So when you get that number, you copy and paste it, and then you go to your website, the back end of your website, and you copy and paste that pixel number to your website. So this is something, it's not difficult, but if you have an IT person or IT department, they'll be able to assist you with that. and I can give you some links that will walk you through getting your Facebook pixel number and how to go through that process. But what that does is once again, when someone goes to your website, they leave, they jump on Facebook, that ID number, that tracking number is going to follow them, and they're going to see your ad if your company's advertising on Facebook for the next several days. Okay. And that's what sponsored content is. Facebook's at a point right now where you have to pay to play. If you want to get more likes, engagement, visibility, they want you to pay for advertising. Okay, next we have YouTube, and this is pretty much video in general. You want to keep your video short. Average time is 2 to 3 minutes. Most people will not watch a video if it's more than 3 to 5 minutes. So try to keep it as short and precise as possible. I think the best rule of thumb when it comes to video, and this is according to, I believe, Google, which is also owned by YouTube. Think of this. I want to know, I want to do, I want to buy, I want to go. Okay. What does your consumer want? They want to know how to do this. Or excuse me. They want to know something, right? Something about your company. What do you do? And how much does it cost? Okay. And if it's I want to go, that may or may not apply. Okay. So what information, resource, value are you going to put in your value? And I think it's okay to take a moment to storyboard. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but what is the sequence of the video? What is the script of the video? It doesn't have to be from memory, but for framework. Okay. Especially if you're going to create a blog post from that video. You can just make sure, like, hey, I want to hit on these 2 to 3 bullet points, and then go from there. You can do a summary, and that's your blog post, or you can go to, I think it's rev.com. It's a transcription service, and I believe they charge $1 a minute. And what they do is take your audio file, they transcribe it for you. And some people, a lot of people, especially in podcasting, they use the transcription as their blog post. And once again, the benefit of that is you're creating more content, and the more content you have, it's going to be indexed to Google, which is going to drive traffic to your website or social media platforms. Also, when it comes to YouTube or video in general, you want to make sure you have good lighting, have good audio. A lot of people, they'll listen to the video, but they may be online doing something else. So always make sure that your audio is up to par. And then keep in mind that you can work your way up to things when it comes to lighting and equipment, things of that nature. Okay. Also with video, make sure you have a good thumbnail. You have a good graphic that when it comes, especially on YouTube, because you have so much competition on the home page and on the right-hand side of the page, when it comes to related videos, you want something that's going to have a good title. Something that's going to have a good title or a good visual that makes it appealing to click on and listen to what you have to say. All right, so Instagram, one of my favorite platforms. I'm really glad I'm actually doing this because now I can jump on the computer and give you some great examples. The example you have here, what I used in the presentation, is of Ink Custom Roofing. They're a roofing company based out of Toronto, and they have their phone number there, which I think is a great call to action. And you can also include your website there on Instagram. Let me just pull this up for you and we can play around with it. So I'm going to go to my Instagram page. And actually, I'm going to go to instagram.com /inked, INKED _custom_roofing. This is the one I have in the example. So let's see what they have on here today. Let's see here. And what I like about this, or let me back up, how I came across this company is I did an Instagram search, which is on the top, has the little search box. I did hashtag roofing. I typed that in, clicked enter, and it gave me options. And I was drawn to one of their pictures, and then I went to their page. So before we examine some Instagram pages, what I like is, whether you're on your phone or on a laptop, when you do hashtag roofing and you want to do an Instagram search, it tells you how many people have used this hashtag, how many times this hashtag has been used on a post. So I do hashtag roofing. It's been used over 180,000 times. Right under that, you have hashtag roofing life, hashtag roofing culture. Hashtag roofing life, which has been used 7,000 times. Hashtag roofing culture, which has been used 4,000 times. And I think what I like about this allows you to just really search to see what is within your area, what is within your industry. So I'm going to do another one. So let's do hashtag Houston construction, if this is even coming up. Houston construction has been used 508 times. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to bring up all of the posts, images, and video that has used this hashtag. Okay. And I'm going to click on this third one. Click on that. And it was posted by EDR135. Caption is, out of the office, adventure today, visiting on one of the job sites. She only used one hashtag, hashtag Houston construction. That's it. Okay. Now this hashtag is not used a lot. It's very narrow. So let's do hashtag construction. Okay. That has been used over 2 million times. Almost 2.5. It's like 2,476,000 times. Okay. So I'm going to click on that. Okay, so we got a couple of different things going on here. Let's see. You have everything from someone actually working, a couple of different people working. Looks like we have a surveyor going on. We have a finished project as far as the bed is concerned. We have t-shirt, Alliance Construction, some good promotion, branding right there. So we'll click on Lions Construction t-shirt. Not that much engagement, but they have several other hashtags that they're using. So I like little stuff like that. Lots of times when it comes to Instagram, we're thinking that we have to use the finished product, whether it's the house, the building, anything of that nature. I know a lot of people said that their clients are uncomfortable with any type of social media promotion. So you do have to be careful, but I think there are a lot of things that you can do from the beginning of a process to the end of the process. Whether that's taking pictures of the blueprint, the computer screen, it could be maybe a team meeting. It doesn't necessarily have to have people posing for the camera, but just the dynamic, right? Of maybe even taking a picture of the boardroom before people walk in, about to get ready for the team meeting. Or maybe the people, you're taking a picture of their back because it looks like they're productive. A lot of the people that use hashtag construction, you saw them out on the site, right? And whether it was a stack of wood or it was actually them on the site, people just want to see you work, right? They want to see that you're doing something of some nature. And I think those are different ways that you can switch it up when it comes to creating pictures for social media. I'm going to go back to the inked custom roofing on Instagram. What I liked about this this profile was that it looks like they deal with a lot of high-end clients or houses, and they show different aspects of the roofing. I see one is kind of like a blueprint. You see stuff where it's the absolute beginning of the house or the end of the roof being actually completed. And they have multiple posts during the day, so it's like they had team A at one site, team B at another site, and some of the posts later down the line, it's kind of like they were showing a story. So it's like, yeah, we started here, we're in the middle of this project, like day 3, and then we're ending on day 5, different stuff like that. So I think if you can find different ways to be creative and tell your story, and maybe you don't post one picture a day, right? But if you if you take a picture of day 1, then you take a picture of day 3, and then take a picture of day 5, and the project's finalized, maybe you post all 3 of those pictures together, and you kind of tell that story on Instagram or any of the different platforms. So let me go back to the PowerPoint here. Okay, and the next picture I had on Instagram was of interior_design_paradise. What I liked about them, it was just very simple. Their caption is, "Follow us for daily interior design and architecture inspiration." That's on every post. Okay, so don't overwhelm yourself thinking that you always have to say or do something different, because sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes you can get away with it. And they have their little, I don't want to say it's a logo, but they have Interior Design Paradise in stars, and then they have their appropriate hashtags that they use on every post. So lots of times you don't have to create something new or reinvent the wheel on every single post, but you can have your industry hashtags, because I'll show you how to do a search. You find out which hashtags are most common with your industry. You write those down or you copy and paste it, and you have those set of 5 to 10 hashtags that you use on a regular basis. And maybe your company wants to create their own hashtag that can be very beneficial at events like this. If you're attending an expo, if your company does a lot of sponsorship, that's always a plus. Let's see here. And okay, give me one moment. And keep in mind, okay. So that's it for Instagram. Keep in mind, Instagram does 60 seconds of video. You can do the search keywords. I'll show you how to do that, and you can use the same hashtag on each post. So whether that's your personal/company hashtag, as well as a few industry hashtags. Oh, and I believe you can use up to 30 hashtags on Instagram. Okay. Some of the other platforms, LinkedIn, Periscope, Pinterest, Snapchat, Twitter, Vimeo. I don't go into too much of those. If you were actually at the presentation, some people did ask questions about those, so I addressed those specifically. I'm going to just give a quick rundown since it's posted on here. With LinkedIn, if you're able to use that more of a lead generation, cold emails, cold calling, however you want to call it, that's a plus. I use LinkedIn as a contact database. I reach out to a lot of contacts. I kind of keep them rotated, where I reach out to certain people every 3 to 6 months, like, hey, keep me in mind for your marketing needs. If you know anyone that needs marketing, please send them away, or send them my way. Don't send them away. I need them, right? But send them my way. Or, just those general emails and checkups can go a long way. Hey, what are you working on, and how can I help you as well? So think of LinkedIn as a contact database. Third, I do believe before you do any type of cold approaching on social media or things in general, specifically LinkedIn, you want to make sure you have an optimized profile. You want to make sure you have a complete profile, because for me personally, if you send me an email and you're like, hey Michelle, I have this great opportunity, or I can help you build a house, and I'm like, okay, cool, this is right on time, and I go to your profile and there's no picture, you have a company name there, but I don't know what you do, no job description at the company, I want to be a little bit hesitant. I'm not going to want to exchange with you. I'm not going to respond to your message, right? But if you have a nice headshot, a detailed profile, I kind of see your work history. Okay, she's been in the industry, or she's been able to transfer skills within this industry for a while. I'm going to engage with you. So keep that in mind, because I have a lot of people, they want to pay for these additional services provided by LinkedIn, but they don't want to keep their profile updated, or let alone complete it. And I think that defeats the purpose. Okay. Periscope is live video. I believe at this point, most people have a solid Facebook audience, which they do live video. So if you're able to, whether it's Periscope or Facebook, it's pretty much the same thing at this point. There's a couple of different ways you can treat live video. And video, I didn't mention this earlier, especially if it's live video, I think it's hard for people to stop what they're doing and to watch your video for an unknown amount of time in the middle of the day. I don't know about you, but I work. For many of us, we work during the day, and then we have our lunch break. So I think live video can be a little intrusive or invasive at times. But if you want to treat it in such a way, once again, a TV channel where you schedule a live video, even if it's something like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, hey, I'm going to go live at 1 o'clock, at least that can prepare me to look out for that, or set aside a few minutes at 1 o'clock to watch your video. Or the second thing is you can do, maybe it's a daily or a weekly show, right? Every Wednesday at 10 o'clock, I'm going to expect a live broadcast from you for about 10 to 15 minutes. So that's an option. One of my clients, Twice Media Productions, in her newsletter, she does Twice Tips, where it's a video blog, or video blog. Every Wednesday, she sends out a video for 2 to 3 minutes, provides you tips on how to incorporate video into your business, right? I expect that in my inbox every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. It's like clockwork. So I think some of those things kind of help people follow you a little bit better, instead of just stopping what you do and, hey, I'm live. It's all about branding. I really think if companies schedule live video or weekly videos, and they're consistent, it can go a long way with their brand. Pinterest, if you know that you have a woman audience, a woman demographic, women that are calling your company for business and questions, I would say definitely jump on Pinterest, especially if you're doing anything when it comes to residential, home design, whether it's interior or outside. I think women love that, and I would strongly encourage you to jump and explore that platform to the best of your ability. You can also do keywords and tags on Pinterest, and you can also do advertising on Pinterest. Snapchat. Snapchat's really running for those that are from the age of 13 to 30 years old, maybe a little bit older. I think it's great for personal brands, as well as those brands that are direct to consumer. At this moment, I haven't seen a successful business, 100% business to business brand on Snapchat. But once again, I'm in Houston, where we focus heavily on oil and gas and engineering jobs, and I haven't seen that transpire. Now, if you decide to do or jump on Snapchat, I think you can. I think it's an awesome way to tell your story. If you're unfamiliar with Snapchat, basically it's an app. It's a yellow icon app. You record its video. You hold it down for 9 seconds, and you give people your spiel, right? And you can also upload or take pictures on Snapchat as well. If you're able to document your story, if you're able to document things, even if it's once a day, a couple of times a day, I think it's great if you have a busy day. That way you're able to keep people updated as to what you're doing. Hey, I just got to the Build Expo 2016. I'm about to jump in the Navigating in Digital Space seminar. Okay, so that's one. Hey, I just finished a seminar. Now I'm on the Expo floor meeting with this sponsor or this exhibitor. So little things like that can help on Snapchat. Now the question is, how do I grow the Snapchat? I think whether it's Snapchat or you're jumping on Facebook for the first time, the way you grow your following is by incorporating it, advertising it, promoting it on anything and everything you do, right? So that means going back to where it all began, the Holy Grail, Facebook. Hey, I'm on Snapchat, follow me here, adding it to your website, going to Twitter, going to Instagram, putting it on a presentation, putting it on your marketing material that's appropriate. If you're an exhibitor at the Expo, creating business cards or social media cards or adding it to your business card. Hey, follow me here. Follow me on Snapchat, Instagram. So that's how you grow your following when it comes to any of these platforms. Twitter, I love Twitter, just a simple fact that it keeps me abreast on news. Once again, keep in mind the hashtags. Good way to promote things. Hey, I'm at the Expo. They did a good job on Twitter. Same thing applies, in my opinion. You just have to condense your content. Twitter's also doing video, 30-second video right now, and maybe use 1 or 2 hashtags when it comes to that. Vimeo, very similar to YouTube. You have a lot of creatives on Vimeo. The good thing about Vimeo is you can do a pay on demand. If there's any way you're able to sell your video, or you want to sell your video, Vimeo is a good thing to look in and see how you can do that. Okay, so almost to the end here. On Wednesday, what was really interesting, on Wednesday my audience consisted of a lot more residential clients and services, and then on Thursday I had a lot more business to business people in my audience. And I didn't go into this detail, but I decided to add a slide, and I was asking several of you, do you have a social media policy? And some people were saying, we're too small, we're only 10 to 50 people. And I get it, trust me, I get it. But I think this is a good time to start a social media policy if you don't have one, because you're either starting from scratch, you're struggling, but you're about to get over this hump. And I think this is just one small thing to incorporate. Now, me personally, when it comes to all of these business plans and policies, I don't believe it has to be 40, 50 pages. I'm talking about just sitting down, dedicating 1 hour, dedicating 5 hours of yourself, your team, and sit down and be like, okay, what do we need to incorporate? Whether it's 1, 2, or 3 paragraphs to just start you off. It's just a start. Okay, it's not solidified in gold. It's going to change in time. You can incorporate the social media policy in your terms and agreements that are on your website, use of services. So it's not far-fetched. But why do you need a social media policy? One, it's just going to incorporate or add to your company culture. I know you have a lot of policies in place already. This is just one more to add to it. Okay, sustainability. Every company wants to grow at some point, and whether you're the marketing manager right now, you're not always going to have that position, right? Or even if you do, you're going to share those roles and responsibilities with people under you. So when those people come, or when you want to hire that intern, that's already in place. Okay, it's just the basics of systems and processes. It's already in place. You can hand them, hey, this is the training manual, This is the social media guide. Let's go over it. So as the company grows, the department grows, those things are already in place, and it helps sustain that aspect of the marketing side, the social media piece. Legal protection. Now, the good thing is a lot of companies are still small, so you're probably not going to go haywire. But once again, as you grow, you want to protect yourself as more and more people come in. Another thing is a lot of people said that their clients were against certain things when it came to social media. Excuse me. So when it comes to legal protection, you want to have this policy in place. And maybe you transfer verbiage from that policy into your client contracts to let them know, hey, we're trying to grow social media, right? Not necessarily what I'm saying verbatim, but just to have that conversation about that when you're having these conversations with clients. What's your take on social media? Okay, what can we do? What don't you like? And I'm not saying you're going all in and you're gonna hire this enthusiastic college kid that's gonna be snapping away and posting all of these things. But I think you can have a simple discussion, 5-10 minutes, checks and balances, yes or no, yay or nay, and go on about your business. And this is a good website, socialmediagovernance.com. What I like about this website, he actually has some example policies that you can go on there and check out. Don't do it verbatim, but you can look at it, review it, and you can see what you're able to incorporate, what applies to you and your company. Okay. So overall, the biggest things I want you to get: you have to create your content. Creating content builds trust, rapport with your audience. It demonstrates that you're an authority figure within your industry. It's going to drive traffic to your website. And then from that, it's going to allow you to promote accordingly on the specific social media platforms. So many things about content that I want to run through. Let's see here. I want you to, when it comes to content, I just want to stress this a little bit more. Become a resource. Become a resource. And I know even if you are dealing with high-end business-to-business clients, they know your industry. That's what I like about business-to-business, because we all speak the same language. We're within the same industry, right? But how can you still be a leading factor within that industry against your competitor, right? How can you still remain resourceful and valuable to your clients? And I think sometimes we kind of overlook that. And I don't want you to, this one thing I had to get over is the curse of knowledge, right? You kind of feel like among your team and your clients, you speak the same language, and you're kind of like, well, everyone knows that. I know that. You kind of overlook those things, but you have something, you know something, and you have something to share. So why not share it, right? Because even though you've been in business for 20, 30 years, company's been in business 20, 30 years, you don't know who that new person is that's coming into this company or to another company, or someone that's about to start a company. There's just so many things that entail when it comes to becoming a valuable resource. And if possible, you want to create as much information around that. It's kind of like covering your bases from one end to another. And then stay consistent. Okay, stay consistent. I didn't talk about this enough, but a good strategy when it comes to creating content is having a content calendar. And if you just take a moment to go on that calendar and schedule 1 or 2 days, like, okay, these are my content days, right? This is the day or the time that I'm going to write ideas out, script, blog post, and then this is the time or the day that I'm going to record video. That goes a long ways. I'm a podcaster. I do a lot of podcasts. So I do this thing what I call a batching process, where I just spend one day writing everything out and recording everything. But that's a little bit different because it's me by myself. And then I record all 4 interviews, and then I just release it once a week. So content calendar is going to allow you to plan things out, whether it's for yourself or for your team. And you just want to plan enough time or 1 or 2 days that's going to allow you to one, create the content, create ideas around create ideas around the content, to create the content, and then 3, schedule the content, right? And that just depends on what the process are when it comes to this. But stay consistent, and a content calendar will help you stay consistent. Okay. So these are some of the resources I came across. Workhands.us, and with my research, I found out it's a blue-collar LinkedIn website. I did not sign up for an account, so I don't know what it looks like inside, but it may be worth checking out. Jing allowed me to do the screenshots of the Instagram photos that I showed. Genius Scan is an app, and I think this is a great app, especially if you're always on the go. For my interior designers, construction people, general contractors, this will allow you to, what I like about this, because I sign a lot of documents, and I can't always get it to a fax, but I can take an image of something, scan it, I can email it, I can save it, I can send it to Dropbox as a PDF. I just think it's great, especially if you're a small business owner. This is great when it comes to receipts, invoices, or anything like that. It's just really beneficial. I talked about video earlier, so video recorder. You have, you have those videos, especially the do-it-yourself videos and the baking recipes or cooking videos. These are really popular when they increase the speed and go real fast to cut off time. So for iOS, you have Slow Fast Slow app, and then for Android, you have the Video Speed app. So if you have a video, maybe it's probably leaning towards 3 to 4 minutes. It's a demo video that's leaning to 3 to 4 minutes, and if you use one of these apps, you can cut that speed in half. Socialmediaexaminer.com, that's my #1 go-to resource when it comes to all things social media. Of course, they have a website. They also have a podcast, and it's a great website if you want to reference the Facebook advertising. They have step-by-step processes on how you can start with Facebook advertising or getting your Facebook pixel number. Okay. So as we come to the end, once again, I want to thank you for everything. Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending the Build Expo. Hopefully you made it through the end of this presentation. I do want to let you know that I am available for consults, training, and speaking. And this can be training on any of the social media platforms. If you would like me to come into your workplace, whether it's one-on-one training or training of 10, I'm available. I can be reached at 713-298-5851. I am in the Houston area. That's a Houston phone number. And I have my company website, which is line25consulting.com. line25consulting.com, as well as my personal website where my podcast can be found at michellegome.com. And you can shoot me an email at info@line25consulting.com, and I'll be glad to get back to you. I would also love to connect with you on any social media platforms, especially LinkedIn. So I do want to give you a special offer today, as it is July 14th. If you have any specific questions regarding the slide, I will be glad to talk to you. We can do it whether it's in the office, phone, Skype, Google Hangout. Technology is great. I would be glad to clarify anything regarding the slide, the presentation within the next 2 weeks. And if you want to do a formal consult or training, please reach out to me. I am available, and we can go from there. But it's Michelle Ngome. I'm signing off. I hope you have a wonderful day, and cheers to the best. Thank you.